This session's going to be about light meters and how and when you should use a light meter. Now, admittedly speaking, I don't use this as much as I used to back in the days of film. In the days of film, you would have to use this a lot more to be able to really wrap your head around what is every single light doing before you push that button. Nowadays, with the advent of digital technology and working tethered, you can just shoot and see exactly what your lights are doing. However, there's certain instances where this will save your life, and having it in your kit is an invaluable piece of kit. Now, for example, when I shoot corporate headshots, I might go into somebody's office. This person might be the CEO of a multinational company. He's got 4 minutes to have his photo taken. He needs to get in, get out. I need to be able to have my lights dialed in to be 100% accurate, so when he comes in, I'm not wasting his time. So using something like this is literally going to save your life. And this particular light meter, I've had this for 20 years. This has been in my camera bag since probably about 1998. Okay? I've had this for 20 years and I still use it now. So this particular light meter has got a few different functions. It's got non-chord, ambient, and chord. Now, I'm going to go through these individually. Non-chord means that when I have it set on non-chord, I push that button there and non-chord will begin to flash. Non-chord begins to flash until the flash goes off, and then it takes a light meter reading. So what this is telling me right now is that at ISO 100, at a shutter speed of a 45th of a second, I need to have my aperture set at 2.8 and a half. Okay? If I move this to the next function, which is ambient, this is just going to take an ambient light reading. So the light in this room, the ambient light in this room, is at 1.4.9. Okay? That's the best part of F2. Right? If I move to chord, chord is when back in the day you used to be able to connect your flash head directly to this little slave here. And what happens is once I push that, this will trigger the flashes, right? So right now, most of the time I use this on non-chord if I'm using flashes, or ambient if I'm trying to get an idea of what is the ambient light and then how much do I need to then put in a flash to compensate for the ambient light. In this particular instance, we've got a headshot set up, and what we're going to do is we're going to use it on the non-chord setting. Okay? Now, before we use it on the non-chord setting, what we have to do is we have to understand our f-stops. Okay? So our f-stops, we've got 1.4, 2, 2.8, 4, 5, 6, 8, 11, and 16. Is there more f-stops than this? Yes, they are. Yes, there is, but they are third stop intervals. These are full stop intervals. Now, what I mean by that is it is a full stop of light. For you to go from F8 to F11 is one full stop of light. That's just the way photography is measured. Now, to do what we're going to do, we're going to be taking a headshot here, and what we want is, if this is our subject, that's the subject's head, that is our background. Okay? To do what we want to do here, we want to have a ratio of 1. What a ratio means is if you've got your subject's face like that, and you put a line straight down the middle of your subject's face, you want to have the light to be one stop difference on one side of the face to the other. For example, I want this side here to be F8, but I want this side here to be one stop under. So there's F8. I want to be F5.6. So I'm going to go F5.6. That's what I want my ratio of light to be on my subject's face. This is a one-stop ratio. If this was F8 and this here was F4, it would be a two-stop ratio. I don't want to do a two-stop ratio because it'll start to make it look a little bit more dramatic, right? The more pronounced your ratio is, the more dramatic it will look. This is a corporate headshot, it's not an actor's headshot. So for this, we want to have a one-stop difference. So I've got F8 and F5.6. So I've got F8 F8, F5.6. Now, my background. My background, I want my background to be overexposed. So what I'm going to do is, if this is the brightest part of my person's face, I want the background to be brighter again. And I want that to be one stop brighter. So that's going to be F11. F11. So this is how I want to have my lighting set up. Now, earlier on in the piece, we'd explained the three things that go in to make up exposure. We spoke about ISO, aperture, and shutter speed. For something like this, I want to be able to lock certain things away, knowing that that is what it's going to be. I have to make some creative decisions. I want to shoot at f8, like I said. I also want to shoot at ISO 100 at f8. And I want to use the shutter speed. We're in a studio. Lights aren't going to change. They're going to be what we set them at. So I want to have my shutter speed set at 1/25th of a second. So 1/125th of a second. This here is, most of the time when I'm shooting corporate headshots, I'm about here. Sometimes I might change that f8 to be f5.6, depending on how much blur I want in the background. Right now I'm shooting with a white background, so I'm not really going to see that blur. So I might as well just shoot at f8 and be able to get everything crystal clear. So I want ISO 100 at f8 at 125th of a second. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some light meter readings of the lights that I've got set up. So I've got 3 lights set up here. This one here is my main light. Okay, this is just a big octagonal softbox. I have another softbox on this side, and then I've got a light on the back that's going to be doing the background. Now, this one here is going to be my key light, and if this is going to be my key light, I want to have this one set at f8. So if I have my light meter set at ISO 100, and I go up here to set my time to be 125th of a second, I now need to set my lights till I get that saying f8. So your light meter helps you be able to work out what is the exposure you want. I'm locking in ISO 100, I'm locking in my time at being 125. Now I need to dial my light up or down to get to the desired f8. So right now, our main light, if I put that there, push the non-cord button, and now it's flashing until I do this. This is telling me that my light is at f2.8.6. That's quite a bit lower than f8. If we have a look at the chart over here, if f8 is here, and this is 2.8.6, I'm over here somewhere. So I'm 1, 2.5 stops under where I need to be. So what do I need to do? I need to turn my light up. So I'm going to turn my light up. And I'm going to take another light meter reading. Now this is telling me that it's 5.6. So I'm now 1 stop below where I need to be. So I'm going to turn the light up again. Five, 6.5. A little over. You just need to dial it in. Now you can see the example that I used before. If this was my CEO and I'm just going back to my light and back and trying to whatever, I'm wasting his time. So I need to do this before he gets into the room. So I am so close. 0.1 off. 0.1 off. And there we go. That is at f8. So if we go back to our diagram, half of our face that we wanted to be at f8, we've done that. So I measure my lights one at a time. So this one was going to be f8. The one that's coming from this side is going to be 5.6. So if I put that there, a good hint is don't stand in front of your light, or don't have anything in front of between your light meter and your light, because it defeats the purpose. So that is telling me that that's at f4 and 8/10. So I am 0.2 off being where I need to be. So I'm just going to turn this up just a fraction. Okay? That's probably a little bit too much. So a couple of ways that I can reduce the light is actually turn it up or down, or physically move the light further away. Okay. When you're talking about 0.1 of a stop, moving the light that little bit is much more accurate than trying to dial it in. Now that's my 5/6. Okay? So if I've got f8 on this side and I've got 5/6 on this side, the middle is going to be 5/6.5. There you go, 5/6.7. 5/6.7. So what that's telling me is f8's on one side, f5/6 is on the other, and as it graduates from one side of the face to the other, the middle is about halfway. Now, the last light we're going to do is our background light. So our background light right now is at f4.9, which basically means it's at 5.6, because that's the next f-stop up. I'm going to shoot this at this so you can see a darker background with this white mannequin's head. And the object of what I'm trying to achieve is I want to have that separation between my subject's face and my background. So I'm going to shoot it now, knowing that the separation is going to be on the darker side rather than on the brighter side, just so I can use it as an example. So if I put my trigger on my head here and frame that up, you can see here how this side of the face is at f8, this side of the face is a little bit darker, and the background is the same exposure as this side of the face. It's a little bit muddy for me. It doesn't really look as appealing as it could be had the background been more exposed. So I'm going to take my trigger again, and I'm going to turn my light up, because what I need to do is now get a full stop of light above. So I'm at 5/6, I need to go to f8, f11, I need to go 2 stops higher. And there we go, we're at f11. So if we have a look back at our screen over here, there we go. The background is now overexposed. This side of the face is very white, and this side of the face is a little bit darker. Now this is a white mannequin head on a white background, so it's going to look a little bit more overexposed than it would on skin tones, but that is how you use a light meter to measure and dial in the lights as you need them, particularly if you're working in an environment where you just got to get it done before the client comes in. So they come in, they sit, they get shot, they leave. Done.